20,000, 60,000 hives. That's completely different ball game. Anybody here is a commercial beekeeper? That's not a surprise at all. Okay. Small hive beetle. A little bit about me. I'm a second generation beekeeper in my family. I'm a Brazilian, half Italian. I'm like hybrid. I'm a hybrid. They call me a hybrid. Just like Africanized bees, I'm a Italianized Brazilian, or vice versa. Like bees, yes. And there's a little bit of a story that I always avoid bees in my life. I grew up with them, with the Africanized bees. They were the normal to me for many years, and I got stung a lot as a kid. And I always hide from my father. He never wanted to help. But the bees keep chasing me, and everywhere I go to college. No more bees. I'm gonna work with spiders now. I start to work with spiders, but they have a job. They're gonna pay more. And guess what? Bees. Okay, bees. Okay, finish college. Go to the medical school to do my master and my PhD with human viruses. Doing vaccines to protect children against human viruses for 7 years. I was happy. And then the bees started to die in the United States, and they were looking for a virologist that had background with bees. Apparently, I was the only guy on the planet with that background. So USDA brought me in, and since then I looked upstairs and said, okay, I give up. I'm a honeybee person. So, and I'm doing this since then for 14 years now. I worked at USDA. This is a picture from Family Business. So I worked 4 years at USDA. I moved to University of North Carolina in Greensboro. I worked for the National Academy of Science and with a grant from them. University of Maryland with Dennis Van Engelsdorf lab. I worked in the Army. The Army has also a bee lab to protect food protection strategy. So I've been around the United States in many different locations. I saw so many different ways to keep bees and to do research. And now I end up in the University of Florida, and I'm very happy with this job. It's very satisfying to see the kind of work that the state of Florida is doing. And I need to, again, to say you guys did a fantastic job to help to build this. I travel everywhere in the world with bees, and I never saw a lab like that. So you guys are fantastic, that kind of opportunity. And if you didn't see it and didn't have the opportunity to stop there, and we have tours every day, just stop by. It's, what, 2 hours from here? That could be a very nice one-day trip, and Brandon's going to be happy to give you guys a tour. Just a couple of photos. The lab is beautiful, and we have a hard-working team, and we're very happy there. We're going to have all kinds of courses there to help beekeepers, small, medium, and even commercial guys now have me. Well, this is propaganda, this is old, sorry about that. All right, a little propaganda of my personal project, which is inside the HumbertoBoncristiani. I do videos for people that are interested in bees. So if you want something and to learn something about bees that you can't find anywhere, send me an email, I'll make a video for you. That's simple. Inside the HumbertoBoncristiani, you can find me everywhere. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Moving on. And that's what I do. I work with these guys, commercial guys with thousands of bees. We need to get in and out from that hive in 30 seconds. The average of one commercial beekeeper for 1,000 hives. That's the average in the United States. So can you imagine yourself taking care of 1,000 hives? It's complicated. It's different. It's a different beekeeping. Different from China. There is one guy for 5 hives. So they have a lot of people. And a lot of bees too. They have around 9 million hives. And we have around 3 point something.
Are the Chinese hives Apis mellifera, or are they one of the Asian hives?
They have both.
Oh.
Yeah. But they keep more Apis mellifera for honey production. And they produce honey that's not honey but that's a different talk for another day. The different fights that you guys don't need to know about it. It's just too much. But let's talk about small hive beetles. How many of you have problems with small hive beetles here? Or have seen small hive beetle in your hive? Okay, but no problem. What do you consider as a problem? Have you lost a hive because of small hive beetle? Have you ever? 1, 2, 3, 4, oh, don't be shy, come on. All right, it's a coleopter, it's a beetle. It's native from sub-Saharan Africa. Over there they don't have much damage, and they believe it's because the bees are different. They have more hygienic behavior. They chase everything that inside the hives much more of the bees, the European bees, and the kind of it's much drier there. So the bees, apparently the beetles need more moisture to reproduce. So they reproduce slowly there. So the bees are able to take care of them better over there. The only damage they have in Africa with small hive beetle is when they forgot the honey house open and that's a different situation. So they can cause big colonies to abscond, that's true. But in my work, I travel all over the state of Florida, visiting commercial beekeepers, and I see a lot of bees, I see a lot of different things, and I can tell you that the idea that small hive beetle only takes weak hives are not completely true. I saw strong colonies getting completely destroyed with small hive beetles. Dr. Jamie Ellis at University of Florida is the world specialist in small hive beetle, and he with lots of conversations with him, I can tell you that we don't know much about it. We don't know much about the biology of this little guy. He's been around for a long time. There's a lot of research on it, but we still not know. We don't know what the triggers for the massive reproduction. We don't know yet. So we can find a lot of diversity of situations, and people can propagate stories. Ah, I see this, I see that. This trap works in this situation. This trap does not work in that situation. I think that's a common rule for beekeeping. You have different environments and you have different situations and happening everywhere. And it's the same for small hive beetle. We don't know the triggers that cause the bee damage. So they can locate bees colonies via smell. That's true. There are good research supporting the idea that they are 3 or 4 times more sensitive to alarm pheromone. So they are able to identify better hives that are under some kind of stress. So meaning that normally is correlated with hives that are weaker or queens. So they have problems, so they're more stressed, they release more stress pheromone, and then the beetles are able to identify them and invade them and take over. And they have something very interesting. They bring with them a yeast. And the yeast is that complete the cycle, because when they got in with that yeast and the yeast start to propagate, the yeast ferment everything, and that increase the amount of doing the fermentation that release more artificial some compounds that simulate the alarm pheromone, so they can attract even more beetles, or is a sign for the beetles that are being reproduced in that hive to stay there. So they keep producing that compound for some reason. Very interesting and very well documented. Only consider significant secondary pests. Again, I'm starting to change my mind about that. I saw strong colonies going down, and it's not being less frequent. It starts to get increasing. We don't have a full study about that. That's my personal impression, visiting commercial guys. And I believe we might have a problem in the future if we do not open our eyes. The adults lay eggs in the colony, and the eggs, when they hatch, the larvae stage is the damage part. The larvae eat everything. Brood, wax, honey, that's the problem. There is 3 instars, and the 3rd instar is the more damage when they need to eat as much as they can before pupation, so they go to the ground We're going to see some videos in a moment about that. So mid-late summer, the population spikes. I guess the world is changing. A good beekeeper is the one that knows how to identify the changes around it and adapt. And we have a lot of changes in the world lately. Before, 40 years ago, it was super easy to keep bees. You just put the bees in a place and you go home. And then you come back a month later, you have a lot of honey. The bees are fine. Not today. There's a lot of things going on, climate change. We don't understand what's going on. I don't know if it's natural, I don't know if it's human related. What I know is something's changing. And the bees are sensing, and we as beekeepers, we need to be paying attention as much as we can. And I'm not saying it's easy. It's not easy at all to have this connection with nature in a point that you're able to adapt. And that's our job as beekeepers, to learn as much as we can, to learn from the nature and help the bees to keep to have what they need. Strong colonies do not allow beetles to oviposit. Not anymore. Things are changing. There are kind of different treatments. Preventive cultural controls like cleaning, kind of normal housekeeping procedures. Keep the apiary clean, the honey house clean, remove the weak hives from the surroundings. We have mechanical controls, the traps, aspiration, and kill the adults, smashing them, kind of satisfying. I don't know if you ever heard that. There's that noise. It feels good. Biological control, some people use nematodes in the ground, so to eat the pupa, the ground. Chemical control, I'm not a chemical guy, I don't like it, so I'm not going to tell too much about it, but some people, commercial guys use a lot of these things. For example, checkmate conifers are able to kill small hive beetle as well, not only for mite, but also small hive beetle. Guard star, they have all kinds of ants treatment, so it's very effective for, in some cases, but there are consequences. I don't know if you like these things about pesticides, but I'm not a pesticide guy. I feel like it's necessary, and I believe in balance. I don't think we can stay completely out of them, but I also feel like sometimes we are lazy. We just want things done, but we need to reduce. It's being too much. I want to talk about a little bit about a project that I finished last year, just to illustrate the kind of work that I do and try to understand the biology of bees and the beetles. This is a project that we have 6 different apiaries with 15 honeybee colonies in each apiary, and we are testing the different traps that were commercially available last year that time. And I inject and put 20 adult small hive beetles that we grow them in laboratory conditions, and we put 20 small hive beetles in this farm. This farm is located in Old Town. It is completely far away from any beekeeper in the area. There is no other bees to interfere with our experiment. So what we have done is there is a control. Can you see? Everybody? Okay, great. There is a control group with 15 hives that we didn't put. We put the beetles just to see how the beetles perform without any kind of control. Then we have beetle bee gone. You know what beetle bee gone is? The piece of fabric that you can put and capture, become a kind of a maze, and the beetle got stuck in it. Okay. We have this. We have a trap that was developed by the USDA. They're testing some kind of compounds. I don't know what is inside of that very much. Apparently they have a new attractant and a killing agent in that trap, but it's patent and with some NDAs in place, so I don't know exactly what the compound is. Also, we have beetle blaster with oil and apple cider. We have beetle blaster only with oil. We have fipronil, which is illegal. Okay. You need to do my job. And that's the way the commercial guys use, and I need to test it for them, because if it's really effective, I need to try to find a way to register there, or find a way to deliver the fipronil in a better way that protect the bees against it. A lot of variables, a lot of things, but the commercial guys truly believe that that works for them. So we follow this for 30 days. We put the 20 there, and I need to stress that we have fantastic people in the state of Florida that donate their time, because this is a lot of work. Work with beetles is a lot of work. We don't have a test. We don't have something simple. We need to go open the hive, shake every single frame in a white surface in the ground, and collect the beetles with a suction. We need to count every single beetle. We dismantle the whole hive and find all the beetles in that hive to count them. A lot of work, and these guys are heroes. I always need to bring that up. Without them, no way to do this job. I will die. Put pictures of some of the hives that we're working on. So this is beetle be gone. Probably you guys have seen this. That's the way the beetle are captured. This is the way the USDA was delivered in the compound with the CDKs. Beetle blaster, and this is the fipronil style. They cut with the fipronil here, they put the tape all over here, so the beetles only have access from here, and the bees do not have access. They eat, and they get out of there and die someplace else. So sometimes they get captured inside because the bees propolize it after they got in, they propolize and trap them over there. That's the only time when you see them captured. But normally they eat and go and die someplace else. That's the way we put the traps, following the recommendations. This is the way we put the fipronil treatment, the CDKs of the USDA. Let me see if I go on this. I'm not going here. I'm going directly here. This is a graph showing the frame of bees. When you have here the control, we have all kinds of hives that were not synchronized. We have hives that have 9 frames of bees, very strong hives. We have hives with 7 frames of bees, and very weak hives with less than 4 frames of bees. So we have all this spectrum here, and then we could follow this after 30 days to see what happens. So in that environment, there was a bad environment. We were trying to push the bees to not have the resources and to see if we can understand what the triggers are for the beetles. So, which is a good indication. That environment, the bees were suffering. So after 30 days, they go down. You can see here, most of them have less bees compared with the beginning. So that's the same for beetle be gone. So all the bees have the same pattern. Can you see here? Everybody going down, down, down. So there is no interference about the bees. None of these results are statistically significant, but we can clearly see there is a pattern that all the bees have followed that environment, which was good. But when you look at the total number of beetles, we also didn't see any difference with any of the treatment. We have this amount of beetles, and then 30 days later with the controls we have very similar amount of beetles. But we have some tendencies here that we observe that with beetle be gone, for example, that slowed down the amount. There is some hives that really didn't have almost 0 beetles. The USDA trap didn't work at all. Actually, it was terrible. More beetles. The government needs to work better with these things. But there is an explanation. I'm going to get there soon. We might have hope in the future. And then we have the fipronil here that was really going down. Apparently, the commercial guys were really happy when they saw that. I told you, it worked. So, however, there is only a tendency. The statistic here didn't clarify if that's statistically significant. But we can see there is a tendency, which is important to continue studies or not. Beetle blaster with oil only didn't have any change from day 0 from day 30, and oil and apple cider we could see something going on here. But again, none of this was statistically significant. The only one that we see capturing things were beetle be gone, the piece of fabric captured the majority of the beetles. The beetles comparing with the other traps. Beetle blaster with oil only was better than oil and apple cider for some reason. I don't know why. So the champion here about capturing was beetle be gone, but when at the end of the day, none of these traps help to prevent the beetles on that apiary. So, but when you look at the growth, when I said the growth is when you get the day 0 and the day 30, and you just subtract one from each other, and you can see the difference from. You can see that the growth in the frame of bees, we didn't have any. The great majority going down. This is the average. You can see. It's a different way to see the other graph. You see the majority have lose number of bees, and the same for everybody. Everybody is under 0, so meaning they're going down. So everybody in average went down in that apiaries. However, when the total of bees, when you look at the total of beetles, everybody, we have statistically significant results here. Only when you compare with the USDA track. And I want you to pay attention about this a little bit because that creates an interesting research story. Beetle be gone compared with the USDA regarding the number of beetles from one to another was significant, statistically significant here. The fipronil also. The beetle blaster with oil also comparing with USDA, they have statistically significant. So what's going on with the USDA thing that was getting that problem? And remember, the only one that had more beetles after 30 days was the USDA system, meaning something was wrong there or something was partially right there. I'm going to get that right now to explain. If you see here the location of them, this is the number of miles from each other. The ones that have significant, statistically significant with the USDA is the ones surrounding the USDA. So very likely, all the beetles from this place, and this place were coming here. We believe whatever they put in that trap was really good to attract everybody, but they didn't put a good killing agent. So there is hope that we might be able in the future, we're working with the USDA people now to create this, to increase the concentration of whatever they put it there, to create a trap that you put outside your apiary, so the beetles never go to your hive. They go directly there because apparently whatever the compounds they put there, strong enough to compete with the smell of the hive. So there is hope. That's the kind of work that we do every day at the lab. So again, we're talking about that. The things that I like to talk about, maintenance of strong colonies that might help to not have beetles in your apiaries. Boosting the natural hygienic behavior. If you have opportunity to buy queens that you know there is strong, better with a strong hygienic behavior, that might help. The bees like to chase the beetles. The bees that like to chase the beetles are very likely to going to get rid of them. Narrowing the hive entrance might help to not let the beetles to get in. But in Florida we have open doors, so we start to get a little complicated. You are, as a beekeeper, depending where you are, we might want to not have the open door, and it's up to you. Because this is only one thing that you'll be looking for. You need to look the temperature, your environment, so a lot of things you consider before you get decisions is a combination of things that you come at the end of the day and say, okay, this is what I need to do tomorrow. Not only one thing. Because if you come here, oh, I have no hive beetle, let me replace the thing, and then you kill your hive because you didn't provide enough space for them to breathe or to ventilate, then you don't sue the University of Florida. So it's a bunch of different information that you need to make your decisions regarding your operation. Mechanical control using in-high trapping tools that might help, as I mentioned before. Some chemicals also might help. If you use camouflage, for example, or fruvalinate, that helps to kill beetles too. Soil treatments, like as I said, some people use permethrin or other chemicals in the surroundings. But also a good chicken might do the job too. They love those larvae, so they're gonna get fat chicken. Very good and tasty. Yeah. So, but I need to mention that some of those chemicals are very toxic, and they, especially in Florida, that we have rain almost every day, sometimes doesn't work. You put it at the end of the day, wash out with you need to put every day, and that's unsustainable unless you're very rich. So everything starts with this guy. If you never saw one of those, this is a small IBO, an adult. And I don't know if you ever saw it. A little bit of just an overview. When I don't like this graph anymore because it's not updated. So let's start from the beginning. The beetle is outside. Something that I didn't mention that I want to mention right now, that differently from varroa, beetles do not depend on bees to survive. They can survive in fruit. They can survive in the environment. They can eat the juice of fruit and reproduce successfully, but not in the same amount that you see in the hives. They prefer the hive toward the explosion of reproduction, but in nature they are able to reproduce themselves. So sometimes you need, it doesn't matter the trap that you have. If they are in an environment and they have whatever they need in the environment, they're going to keep coming back. Keep coming back. So something to consider, they are, we call generalists. They do not depend on bees. So, that being said, I like to keep the eye open on these guys, because if they start to cause damage like varroa and start to transmit things like viruses and bacteria, these can be worse than varroa and because we don't understand the biology of them yet. I always feel like, always concerned about small IBOs deep in my heart. If something changes, that's going to be bad, because it's not like varroa that's completely dependable. They live outside, so it's not something that you can treat the hive, but it's always outside. Okay, so the beetle outside, they need to find the hive. So by smell, they're able to find the hives are weaker by identifying the pheromone. When they get in, even in a strong hive, they have this massive aggregation of beetles, and sometimes these beetles are induced the bees to fly away and they abandon the nest. And something important to consider, they are able to be inside the hive for a long period of time. People think they cannot eat, even when the bees are trapping them, they cannot eat. I'm going to show you in a minute that they are very smart, and they trick the bees and let the bees to feed them. So the bees feed them. That's beautiful biology to me. You're going to see the video. It took me forever. A gentleman sent me the video. I never could get the footage myself, and now I have it because he's a very nice guy. So, but inside the host, whatever happened that we don't know yet to trigger the massive replication, the reproduction of it's massive with a lot of eggs, a lot of larvae. They consume everything they can possibly consume in your hive. Wandering larvae, so after the larvae, the first instar they need to look for the pupation to get out of the hive and find a very nice location in the floor and on the ground to go in and pupate there. And that's funny because when you think about that, I saw in a lab, they can walk far away. They just go places. Dr. Elliott in South Africa doing experiments, and he reported that they could, from the 4th floor of a building, they get up the stairs, and they found the ground outside the building. It was falling the whole path. they're very strong. So they pupate in the soil, depending on the conditions of the soil, amount of humidity, and the temperature. They can be very fast or they can be slow. You're going to see some data soon. So again, these are able to reproduce outside. They're not dependable of the bees at all. And okay, so inside the hive they have a problem. The bees don't like them. And the bees like to trap them and try to cut their heads off all the time. So that's why it's good to have bees that have that kind of behavior. As you can see here, they're always trying to catch it. Get it, get it, get it. Get it. So if they are Africanized bees, they don't do that too much. They do just for a while and they propolize the whole thing here and trap them and kill them. That's the behavior most of the Africanized bees with small hive beetles and anything else that inside the hive that do not belong, that they propolize. But that doesn't happen here with European bees. So they try to keep them here, trapped. And you're probably going to be thinking that maybe, oh, they're going to die, no food for them. But that's not the way biology works. There is always someone that's smart enough to trick the bees. And I'm going to show you. So, wait, this is too long. Yeah, they keep doing this forever. However, I noticed something. It's not published, but there is an observation of mine that we are working with USDA now to try to find out the reason why. When you put the beetles that we farm in the laboratory conditions that never get in contact with the bees before, the bees are really after them, really hate them and go after them. But after 15 days, the bees start to slow down. They don't care about them anymore. We don't know why exactly that happened. We believe, because you're going to see in the next video. Wait a second, let us show you. Sometimes they get their heads off. That's not this case. Oh, not today. So, can you see that they're looking to touch things. They're looking for the bees. If they're smart like these ones, or these ones are dead, I'm not sure. This one's not. They just stay there. But no, these guys are looking. They're going after the bees. Can you see they're trying to do something, and sometimes they success. Oh, here we go, here we go. No. Oh. Almost, he's trying to do something. He's trying to do something. What he's trying to do? He's trying to trick the bees. Let me show you what it is. I think the next one. Yeah, because it's, here you go. That's what he's trying to do. Oh, come here. Oh, I got you. Oh, feed me. The bees start to feed. And then they are like, what are you doing? Don't get out of here, you're fired. Something like that. But when you see something like that, you just feel like, how interesting is nature? Because for a behavior that to happen, they need to be together for a long period of time. For this one to learn how to trick the bees, a lot of different try and error happen until the ones that know how to touch the right spot and the head of the bees I like to watch that. I don't know about you, but I'm gonna play it. It's fascinating. Oh, come on, I can just trick me. Oh, mama. Give me something, mama. Then the other one, yes. They have a little conversation. Let me teach you. Chop the head off. So it's beautiful. The nature is a beautiful thing. So that's the way they survive inside for a long period of time. So people think, well, they're going to be there forever, not going to have food. No, that's not the case. They find a way, the bees, to feed them. And one shot of that gives them energy for a long period of time. So this is the egg, very small. You can see with your eye, but not if it's my eye. I don't actually. I have bad eyes. But it's, people with good eyes can see them in a, they prefer the cracks of the eyes. If you have old eyes, you're probably going to find there, much likely. And this is the problem here. These are the guys that cause the damage. They're disgusting. I don't know about you, but I think it's disgusting. And they like to eat.
Is that wax moth or is that eye beetle?
Eye beetle.
Eye beetle.
Small hive beetle, the third instar is with the larva bigger. This is the bigger larvae of small hive beetle that you can see. Sometimes it's easy to get confused with the larvae of wax moth. Some people think they're cute. How about you? No? No? Alright. I don't. Well, at least the chicken love them. That's true. That's the one that caused the problem. They eat everything, destroy the hive, and spread the yeast. Yep. If you come from the bottom, if they have holes in the bottom, they like to eat things from. Sometimes you think it's protected because it's covered, but you didn't see coming from the bottom. So yes. And that's the damage. That's what we're going to find if you do not take care of it. And that was a strong hive in an operation that was done in about 6 days.
What time of year?
Good question. I never realized. We don't want to see that. And this took me forever, so I followed this guy until they got in the ground, just for you guys to see when the exact moment when that happened. And I was following this for almost an hour. I said, that doesn't make any sense. You're supposed to go fast, otherwise you're going to die. But then they decide to stop and go in the ground, where the pupation happened.
You mentioned something about code control.
Yes. Yeah, some people spread nematodes in the ground and apparently are very effective. But I don't know much about it. I never did it myself. Yeah, biological controls, people use biological controls. I'm always concerned about biological controls, that we believe we control things. Yeah, I heard the story, oh, the Africanized bees never going to reach Mexico, yeah. Never going to reach America. Yeah, I heard those stories. Yeah.
Is there anything to treat the ground with?
I can't hear you.
Is there anything to treat the ground?
They use those anti-ants. They spread insecticide, anti-ants, and worms. But that's one way to control.
What about DE powder or Dawn?
Clarification, sir.
Say it again, sir.
DE powder or Dawn dish soap?
I don't know about that, so I cannot say anything.
It kills ant mounds really good. The Dawn dish soap, about 5
I-
ounces to 5 gallons. It's not poison for the animals and critters to get killed on.
When people put me in a spot like that, and I feel like
They're insects, right? They breathe
I-
through the skin.
I'm representing University of Florida, and I'm not allowed to do any recommendation. So, especially that kind of. And yeah. So, I try to avoid, I prefer chickens, but sometimes it doesn't work too. The better you know about the biology of the beetle in your own conditions, sometimes it's just a matter of you move your hive to the shade or to the sun. Sometimes small things can make the difference in your apiary. You just need to try something different. In a commercial apiary, you don't have choice. The guys need spending money with the crew to go and do something very fast. But for sideliners and backyard beekeepers, you have more time and more care, I would say, about the bees and have the possibility to do that extra step, perhaps to try something else. In that case, I will advise you to try something else before go to the chemical things that I feel that we don't have much control on it anymore.
So the thing is, you're just focused on one way to control versus domesticus herb or nematodes or yarn, are you in a parameter that you can expand beyond what you're currently using as your parameters to control?
What I can tell is I like to see an overview and try multiple things at the same time. Normally that's the way I feel that work better when I try at least 2 or 3 different things at the same time. Especially 2 to 3 different things that are not chemical related.
So at university, just what percent is all that you're working with?
I feel that I like the piece of fabric. I have good experience observing them to catch the beetles. That doesn't mean they protect the whole apiary, as you saw the results that I got. But if you're just looking about capturing, I feel that would be the safer place to go. I'll say.
How about with the USDA apiary? Put one hive out there and put their seeding device on a tree next to it instead of inside the hive. See if it lures them out and away rather than into the hive.
That's exactly what we're doing right now. Yes, we're working with the USDA. They produce a trap that we can concentrate. And there is a fan that spread more the smells, and then the catch system. They try to be fancy, and to me, I just put it outside and see what happens. Yeah, but that's exactly what we're doing. That's the next step. Because if you can get, that's the perfect solution. They never get in. Because most of the solution we have now is for when the beetles is already inside. That's exactly what we don't want. Or another traps are to capture the larvae. But after the larvae, the damage is done. So it's always a compromise that you need to do. So that's why we propagate them with sand in a laboratory condition. We can raise hundreds and hundreds of thousands of beetles. This is early adults that just finished pupation. This one is trying to find out what's going on. I need to get out of here. I don't know what's going on. A pupa. I'm gonna have to ask you guys again pretty soon if you think this is cute or not, because I'm doing a survey because I got some different results from depending where I am in the state of Florida. And I'm curious to see you guys. The other again, just trying to find out how I get out of here, what I'm doing here, who put me here. It's a brand new adult, find a way out. You can see this is a 1.5 ml tube, laboratory tube, very common tube, with sand. Okay, the $1 million question is, come on. Close up. they have lots of small hairs. Oh, it's not this one. Okay. Okay. Is this cute? Are you sure? Some? Well, let me look at you. Oh, come on. You know how to dance. Look at that. Look at that. He's trying to convince you. Oh, he's cute. Come on. Okay, I got some here. Oh, look at that. So cute. That's a cute. Look at that.
Would you feed it?
Take it home with you.
Some people look at that and think about vampires. Some people think, oh, that's so cute, I'll take it home. So I got a split reaction here, I would say. Okay. And they fly. And that's another problem that we need to talk about. We don't know how far, but we know it's really far. This one, we're trying to identify how far they can live, that they can fly. So we connect them in these little wheels, and then we let them fly until they stop. This one, we're just playing around. It didn't stop, it started experiment. But this one is specifically 4 hours straight, without any stop for feeding or anything. 4 hours trying to fly. I know. So it's just for you to think about it. Sometimes you think, no, they can go far away. And they can stop and get some food in a fruit somewhere or something else. Things that we don't know. We always need to keep our mind open that we don't know how they behave in nature. We think we know. So some fun facts just to wrap this up. Small hybrids are sexually mature 1 week following the emergence from the soil. Some researchers estimated that the female beetles may potentially up to 1,000, and other researchers think there's 2,000 eggs in their lifetime. Most beetle eggs hatch in about 3 days, but the incubation period can continue for up to 6 days. The larval period lasts 13.3 days inside the bee colony and anywhere between 15 to 60 days in the soil, depending on the temperature, the kind of soil that you have. This is fun. Wandering larvae, the ones that walk in, have been recorded as being able to survive for up to 48 days after the feeding ceases, and is still able to develop a viable adult. 48 days. Good question. This is, I don't know. You have very good questions, sir. Incubation times from 8 days until 2 months. Again, depending on the soil, the environmental conditions, humidity, temperature, things like that. Adaptive environment factors such as soil type, as I said, soil moisture, soil density, field slope, drainage, rainfall. Say it again, sir?
They drown in the soil?
If you have too much water, yes. So
Yeah, so there's a natural environmental plus these swamps.
however, is close to these places that I found they are most dead hives. So we might think that, but we might not know. Maybe they are able to survive. So we don't know much. Close to, yeah.
So when did this research start?
Which one?
What you do with the small
Well, we performed the experiment last year. Yes. But I already feel that we are late because there's so many other traps in the market right now that we didn't include in our study that I feel like we are very late. That's the academia style of doing things. You get it right, then get the funding, and then get students and help, and then when you see it's 2 years, and then people already move on with something else. That's my complaint with the university. I came from a commercial mentality. Boom, 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 we need to do fast. It doesn't work like that. But that's a problem that I have with the university. But we need to adapt, I guess, or I need to quit. Another fun fact, soil moisture appears to be a major limitation factor in a beetle reproduction. So here is part of your ancestor. And ultimately, population build up when they have moisture. But I don't know what's the threshold. Maybe too much moisture can kill them too. I don't know. We'll talk about that. A little bit of history. So they from Africa, as I mentioned. And then they arrived in 96, 97 in Florida, but nobody cares about them, and they were ignored. And in 98, they started to spread, and finally people got concerned. And they got concerned because in that year there was $3 million in damage in Florida. And then something that I learned about Florida is not like oh my God, I forgot. Whatever happened in Florida spread like crazy. And I'm trying to Vegas, come on. Whatever happened in Vegas, stay in Vegas. In Florida, no. It's completely opposite. Go everywhere. Don't try to do anything in Florida. We're going to spread. 2002 things get bad, get out of the control. Even in Africa, something happening going in Canada, Australia. More cases everywhere. More cases get in Mexico. Completely dominate Australia. Get in Europe. More cases in Canada. 15 completely got United States, Hawaii. More cases in Europe. New Zealand. Then South America. This is the present situation right now. I can tell you there is more because we just finished a revision of all the diseases of honeybees and identified them in maps like that around the globe. So we're going to release this article very soon. It was an immense amount of work. There are around 80 different pests of honeybees that we go, all the viruses, all the bacteria, all the fungi, everything. And we're going to release those maps so people know where they are. It's important for regulatory people. Thank you. That's what I have for you guys today. Thank you very much. I think I have time. Yes, sir. Not from outside, but if you grab them and you squeeze, they're gonna pop up something different from each other. Yeah, that's what I think.
Is there equal amount of females, males, or?
Nature have a tendency to keep around 50% of each, but we don't know.
So you don't know if we're going to find an active predator for that particular bee, right?
Well, yeah, like we know about chicken, about the nematodes they found out, so they started to propagate. When we were doing the when we were propagating them in USDA, we found there was a contamination with the fly. So now we're trying to find out what fly, what kind of fly that eat the whole beetle that we were farming in the lab. So maybe that fly might be a good solution to spread.
Well, bird feeding on flying rods is flying for a while too, right?
Yeah, but gonna need a lot of birds. Anything is possible, sir. Yes. Yes, sir.
According to maps there, evidently they don't freeze in the ground when they're in the food.
Yes. In states that have cold
Your
weather.
maps are all the way up in Canada.
Yes. But as I mentioned, they can't overwinter inside the hives. The bees feed them. That's the way they survive in Canada and this places. So outside they die for sure. We test it. That's something that we know. If you freeze them, they die. Yes, sir.
Sorry, another one. Are they in flight? Are you notice, are they individual, like after they go on the mission, or are you see swarm actually?
We don't know. And it's very hard to study them in that situation. Because, yeah, to open the hive, they do. It's very hard to track. If you remember the video, we're trying to mark them with color. The video, one of them for blue or something like that. We need to find a better way to mark them because that blue goes away in about 1 day. We don't have a system to really track it. Yes, sir.
How long does the hive beetle live, actual life?
That's another thing that I cannot tell you for sure. And I'm sorry for a lot of, supposed to come with the answers, but we don't know much about them. In a farm, in laboratory conditions, the way we do, which is we cannot assume the same with nature. Apparently, they leave after they hatch, and we keep them with sugar. They can live for 30 days more. But I will not assume the same inside the hive with more conditions, with the bees feeding them, or they are having access to protein. They love protein patties. They really like protein patties. That's a concern of commercial guys, the timing of the protein patties, because they know depending on the time they're going to attract beetles. More questions? Sir.
I have a colony of ant lions under my beehive.
Okay.
You know, the ant lions, are they big or small?
You mentioned the size of the colony?
No, so ant lions, they're...
Ant lions, okay.
Yeah, you know, has a little cone.
Yeah. And they get everything that drops?
Yeah. I don't know, are the beetle...
They like to eat the bees. So I would assume they might get them because the beetles are smaller. They're able to eat and bring to the soil big stuff. Is that the same that we're talking
I
about?
know they can be ants, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have an idea of the scale difference.
I don't know. I would never, I don't know. Yes, sir.
You saw the spread of the small hive beetles in a short time in the United States and other countries. Could the spread in the United States be from the commercial beekeepers?
Yes, sir. Yes. The transportation of bees in the United States is something that there is no comparison any other place in the world except Turkey. Turkey have a lot of migration too to get fine honey. But the United States is just crazy. That's the level of commercial and transportation here is just, it's a different kind of operation. And of course, it spread a lot of different things. Especially in Florida, because 1/4 of the bees in the whole United States need to stop Florida at least in one part of the year to survive the colonies, to get the resources here, or to pollinate any crop that we have here. So it's a lot of bees that come to Florida and they go back to places and do this transition to Florida. Yes?
You've been obviously around the world. How do you find in the other countries, how they try to take care of this problem? Obviously, it's not working there either, but what kind of products are they using versus the U.S. regulations, things like that? Do you study their products as well?
In South America, with Africanized bees, small hive beetle is not a problem. The Africanized bees really could take care of them. Other places like Europe, I saw the same way they're doing here, trying the same kind of traps. In Thailand, I believe they have some essential oils that they believe it works. I never tested myself. Let me think. They have Asian bees and they also have honey bees, Apis mellifera. They have in Thailand they have all the bees there, all the 7 different honey bees. Let me think. Yeah, basically they try to copy US a lot. That's something.